Hey everybody, thanks for watching this episode of Behind the Charts. My name's Zach Batty, and today we've got a special guest host, Peter Humleker. Peter runs one of the top pages on Facebook about MMA and the UFC, so we're going to be getting his insight on really everything in the MMA world. Peter, how you doing today?
Good.
Hey, thanks very much
Glad
for taking
to be
time. Just kick us off. What's going on with UFC right now? It is huge. Everybody is getting in on it.
Yeah, did you see I thought was interesting was, did you see that video that Dana White did chastising I forget his name, the reporter that was wrote about how the numbers were down for the fight that we just had the other night, with the Korean Zombie and the whole thing on Fuel TV. Did you see that video?
I missed it.
Oh yeah, this guy had said that the viewership was down, but what Dana pointed out was that these other shows that beat it were in their age category was like 60 plus. It wasn't even the UFC's age bracket. But I'm really glad that the last two fights that were free were great cards, man. All the Fox 3, the UFC 3 on Fox event was great fights, and then this last one on Fuel TV was really good too.
What do you think? What do you think about UFC combining with Strikeforce? Is that going to help or is that going to hurt?
Yeah, I think it's gonna help because they keep on eating up their competition. They're like the Pac-Man. They just keep on eating up all these guys. They had Pride, a while back, and pretty soon. Who was it? Affliction, they tried to start a couple years ago. You remember that? Affliction tried to start their own, and, they saw it costs so much money to try to put on these little promotions,
Right.
Well, to be a big promotion, so to speak. But, to compete with UFC, who's been in it since the beginning, you're not going to do it, I don't think,
Yeah.
They've got all the good fighters, everyone. All these other guys start in the smaller markets, and then they get known, and then they get brought into the UFC on a contract or through Tough. That's what everyone aspires to be. Do you want to play in the Canadian Football League, or do you want to be in the NFL? Everyone wants to be in the big league.
Sure. Speaking of the fight card, speaking of the big boy league, big fight coming up: Santiago and Mir. I'm sorry, Dos Santos and Mir.
Junior and Frank Mir. Yeah, I think Mir's in trouble. I think Junior's gonna win.
Really?
That's my call. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it.
Okay, I'm writing it down right now then. Mir. Peter calls it.
I actually thought Junior was gonna lose against Cain Velasquez.
Yes.
And he ended up beating him. I was like, oh, wow, man, that's crazy. But, yeah, I like Junior a lot. He's a good role model as well. I prefer the guys that don't talk a bunch of trash, and the ones that just go out there and, they kind of let the results speak for themselves versus the ones that are, they're always, young 20-year-olds. Oh, I'm gonna knock his head off. Like, oh, brother,
So you're not a fan of Sonnen?
I do like Chael simply because I didn't like him at first, but he's kind of growing on me simply for the reason that he's just so entertaining and funny in the stuff he says. I mean, he just says stuff that no one else would say. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's kind of like our version of Muhammad Ali, but I mean, Muhammad Ali was obviously. If you combined Anderson Silva with Chael Sonnen's personality, then you'd have our version of Muhammad Ali for MMA, right? Because Ali was such a great boxer. I like watching Chael on video and the crazy stuff he says. I think he does. I think he brings entertainment into the MMA. You know what I mean? He's outspoken. He says things no one else would, and he just doesn't care what other people think. You know what I mean?
You think that's how he really is, or do you think that he's a showman?
No, I think it's all a show. Yeah, he's doing it to get
He's working the business.
attention, and it's just like the when you look at the pro wrestling, the WWE, you've got the guys like The Rock or Hulk Hogan, who were always played the good guy, and then you had the guys like Triple H, who always played the bad guy. But the bad guys have just as many fans and make just as much money as the guys who play the white hat good guy, right?
Right.
And I think Chael's kind of like playing that bad guy, the Triple H card, where everyone says they hate him, right? They can't wait for him to get his head knocked off, which will be funny, because then it's kind of like if he gets beaten really badly, he's, then it's no longer funny, right? He's no longer nearly as entertaining if he gets a beat down.
Right.
But in that last fight with Anderson Silva, holy crap, he had Anderson Silva beat, and then Anderson Silva at the last minute pulls it off with a submission, So that was like, wow, it was like crazy. He almost beat Anderson Silva, who hasn't been beat in ages,
Yeah. Well, how do you think Silva and Vasquez is going to go?
Yeah, I don't think anyone's going to really beat Silva.
Okay. You think that's why maybe he's not the headliner for that fight?
Who's headlining it? Which one you're talking about?
This one on, let's see, when is it? Saturday, the 26th, with Dos Santos and Mir.
Oh, yeah. I haven't even been paying attention to that one yet. I don't even think about them until they start to get really close.
Okay.
But,
okay. Well, yeah.
I just kind of like, I got to look at that one.
Okay. What's coming up then? What have you got your eye on right now?
I'm waiting for. I really want Nick Diaz. He's in the middle of that whole thing with the marijuana, and I can't believe he's. The Diaz brothers are a trip, man. They are a trip. And I used to not like them as well, but they're kind of growing on me like Chael Sonnen has. The thing I like about the Diaz brothers is they really back up what they say. They're phenomenal boxers. They're great on the ground. They're trained by Cesar Gracie, for the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, which, of course, the guy's a freaking master.
Right.
But when I see these guys, I just think, Michael Jordan, arguably the greatest basketball player of all time, he made the majority of his money from endorsements.
Sure.
So I don't understand why these guys, like the Diaz brothers, for example, are a good example. Not so much Nate, but more so Nick. They could make, Nick at that one press conference a couple months ago was talking about money and how he wasn't paid enough or whatever. I forget the exact thing he was whining about. But these guys could make so much more money. You think of people like GSP, who are just the perfect role model. Everyone would want their kid to look up to GSP. He doesn't talk a lot of smack. He's not out, clubbing, bar hopping, doing drugs, getting arrested. We don't have that so much of that problem in the MMA. It's mostly like the NFL guys who are always acting all like a fool. But GSP's making so much money off of endorsements. People line up around the block to endorse and give money to people like GSP, who they know are a safe bet. They're not going to, tarnish the company's name or run it through the mud by getting caught up in some scandal, right?
Right.
And so I just think, guys like Nick Diaz, they're so talented. He's such a great fighter, man. If they didn't do the whole, flipping people off on TV, which, and you got guys that are watching the UFC with their 12-year-old kids, the last on a pay-per-view, right? Yeah, you could do it on a pay-per-view because it's pay-per-view, right?
Right.
If it were regular TV, they'd block it out. But, no father wants to sit around watching the UFC with his kid and then having, someone flip the bird off to the crowd or using a bunch of, dropping the F-bomb, for example. And likewise, companies like Nike and Adidas and all these vitamin companies, they don't want that crap either.
Yeah.
So it's just a shame that some of these younger fighters don't, grow a brain, so to speak, and clean up the act and go after those endorsements and just, they could, quadruple their income.
Sure.
You know what I mean? I mean, the money's not in fighting. The money's in the endorsements. I mean, Chuck Liddell was another good example of a guy that was, a great fighter, exciting to watch. And he had a long-time endorsement with, I think it's called Zions.
Okay.
I'm not sure how you even pronounce that company name, but he always had those guys on their shorts and stuff. You know what I mean? And Tap Out's another great big sponsor. I don't think Tap Out really cares what you do, though, but, that's another great company, Tap Out,
Yeah.
But, I don't know why these guys don't go after the endorsements more.
Well, maybe he could be endorsed by California in the Legalize It campaign or something.
It would be hysterical if he actually came out with a pot leaf on his shorts that said legalize it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I wonder if Dana White would even allow that. I don't know what their rules are on what you can or can't put on your shorts that you're fighting in, or your banner that always comes up behind the fighter. That'd be interesting to find out. You should have you tried to interview Dana White?
No, I haven't yet.
I'm sure he's probably really super hard to get a hold of because he's such a busy guy. I guess he had surgery the other day.
Really?
For Meniere's disease or whatever. It's like it's like vertigo.
Oh, okay.
Much worse. Yeah, he was. I read about that the other day. So
that's too bad.
Hopefully he's doing well. But it'd be interesting to ask Dana about that. If Diaz came out with a marijuana leaf that said legalize it, I mean, that would be fantastic. I think. But it would just be funny. What would happen? Would Dana White allow it? I mean, it's legal in 16 states. You know what I mean? So.
One last thing. Do you follow The Ultimate Fighter at all?
The Tough? The TV program?
Yeah.
I tape it. I DVR it. Usually I'll watch it while I'm, working on my laptop or whatever. But
season finale's coming up. Anything? You gonna make a call on that?
Yeah. Who's Faber going to fight? I can't even remember anymore because I know that what's his name got an ACL injury. The other coach.
I can't remember. I don't have it up.
The other coach. What's that guy's name? Wow.
Is it? Well, we'll have to talk about it next time then.
Yeah, you know who I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Got a brain fart, but he hurt his. I believe it was his ACL, so he's out, but he's still coaching. But I really liked the coaches challenge they had when they had him at the Marine Corps base.
Yes.
With where they were shooting the guns, going in the obstacle, and that was the best coaches challenge they've had on that show ever, I think.
That's cool. It's a very cool show. Well, Peter, I appreciate you taking time out of your day again. This was a great show. Where can people get a hold of you? You've got your Facebook page.
Yeah, they can go to facebook.com/MMAFB. We got a little under 60,000 people on there. We've got posts basically every day. We always try to post the latest news that happens. We do polls. We poll people for the different fights that come up every UFC event. And, that's probably the best way is right through there.
Okay, awesome. Everybody go to the page, like it, and go to the FSA Stock Exchange and get ready for the big fight coming up. Thanks very much.
Absolutely.
We'll see you around.
All right, thanks, Zach.
Yep,
Take
bye.
care.